Welcome to Swim Segments. I'm your host, Brandon Oates, also head coach of the Belleville Beast swim team. Today I'm joined by
Emery, Olive,
and
Gracie.
On today's episode, we've got four-time Olympian, world champion, and world record holder in the 50 meter and 100 meter short course breaststroke from Jamaica,
Alia Atkinson.
as well joining us from London Aquatic Club, world champion last summer and newly crowned MVP of the Michigan Wolverine swim team,
Maggie McNeil.
We've got an awesome show for you today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Let's go check in on Coach Nyden.
Go Bees! Go Bees!
So what's going on, Coach Nyden? How you holding up, buddy?
Good, man. How are you, Mr. Oates? Good. Just busy. A lot of cutting the grass now. The grass is growing pretty fast. Lots of grass cutting and outdoor projects are continuing. What about you?
Just looking forward to good weather here. It's been a whole week of being cooped up inside. So May's here, and sunshine will be out kind of soon enough. In the sunshine, I got the sunset here in the background. This is the last virtual background that I'm throwing at you. But last week I didn't mention it. We actually came to you from Outlet Beach, Dunes Beach the week before, and this beach here isn't part of the Sandbanks, but out by your place, North Beach.
North Beach, yeah. Looks familiar.
Yeah. Gorgeous sunsets there, so hopefully we'll be able to go back down there and get out and see that again. So anyhow, this week's episode, we've got four-time Olympian, world record holder, and world champion Alia Atkinson from Jamaica talking to us.
Nice.
That's going to be one. The other one is world champion and just named Michigan Wolverine MVP, Maggie McNeil.
Nice. That's good. It's a big lineup. This week.
Yeah. So that's going to be pretty cool. As well, we got a couple other little bits here and there, but it's pretty crazy to think that we've been doing this for so long here. And, I know some of these episodes are a little longer than what we originally wanted, kind of anticipated to go out 20 to 25 minutes. But then I thought about it too. It's not like people don't have the extra time to tune in and watch a little bit longer, right?
Agreed, and it's a good content. I think the interviews are really good, very interesting, a lot of different perspectives. I think the hour, 45 minutes to an hour fly by. So I'm a fan of them.
Good. All right, well, we're going to keep these going for another couple episodes after this too, but then we're going to bring it down and run some other smaller segments on a regular basis. You and I, hopefully we can get out and do some stuff that way. But other than that, I know you sent in your thing this week. It looks awesome. You're talking about some unknown swim facts. Thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. It's just going to be random, historic, fun, interesting facts about swimming and swimming-related things.
That's perfect. Well, we got some interviews coming up here. They're golden this week, so let's get into them.
It's go time.
All right. Well, welcome to the show, multi-Olympian, four-time Olympian, world champion, world record holder in the 50 meter and 100 meter short course breaststroke, Alia Atkinson. Thanks so much for joining the show.
Hi, thank you guys for having me.
All right. So how are you holding up during this time? Are you back in Jamaica or South Florida or somewhere else?
No, I decided to stay in South Florida, so I'm here. And it's been up and down. At the beginning, it was more of, all right, so we just wait another year, like no biggie. And then as I started to really feel the difficulty of training on your own without knowing when you're actually going to swim again, it just started to take its toll. Like, why am I getting up so early? Why am I doing this? Do I really need to do more dry lands today? I can do it tomorrow. So the lazy part of the mentality started kicking in. And I think that's the hardest part for any athlete right now, is how to fight that. But yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out.
Well, do you know, like, obviously talking to family or whatever too, back in Jamaica, is it pretty much the same situation there? Is there anything that, we don't know here in Canada or in America that's going on? in Jamaica?
No, for the most part, we were really proud of the Jamaican government, because when it started in China and everybody just started worrying about what's going on, before it started to be an international pandemic, Jamaica started watching it. So when it started going to Italy and started spreading a little bit more, Jamaica said, you know what, let's try and get all our people back home and let's see what we can do. And they just kept on watching it and watching it. And as soon as it hit on the Western Hemisphere, they shut down. Like everybody, they started restricting hours, everybody had curfews. Everybody who was out of the country, they brought everybody back in and just really started regulating it. And it's a fantastic thing, because if you know your country and you're very humbled at the fact, like, this is what my country can do, then you don't want to see what's on the opposite side of that. So instead of waiting to see, all right, maybe we get it, maybe we won't, Jamaica shut down. Like, we are not getting it. So they held off for a little while. I think they only had about 2 cases for maybe the first month or month and a half. But now, as everybody's starting to relax a little bit more and not take the necessary precautions just because of time, and everybody's getting tired of being locked up, more cases are starting to show. But I think for right now, they're doing pretty well.
That's good. So what are you doing? You kind of touched on it there too, but what are you doing during these times? And like, do you have access to a pool at all, or are you just working out at home, or are you keeping up your fitness?
I thought I was doing very well until early this morning. I was like, ooh, I'm getting soft. Like, so obviously I'm not doing as well as I thought. But yeah, I have a gym that I get to go to, so I'm really happy for that. But besides that, I have no pool. So that's the hard part, trying to figure out how to still let the body feel like it's swimming without actually swimming. So I've been doing a lot of tubing outside of the water as well, and really getting back to the things I did when I was a teenager, and actually early 20s after college. So a lot of breaststroke tubing, a lot of flies and freestyles, and then just more core work. Because at the beginning, I was like, I don't need to stretch. Like, I'm not doing anything, stretching will be fine. And then I ran a mile and I could not stretch. I am super mobile and flexible. And I was like, I can't, this is rough. So I guess with swimming, it taught me to feel my muscles more. So in order to stop the hurt, I was proactive with the stretching. But if there's no hurt, I don't stretch. So it's learning a lot about yourself as an athlete. I've been swimming my whole life, so it all came as a routine. And now that swimming is out of the picture, how do I still keep the routine with swimming not in it? So yeah, it's keeping up with the old stuff, having a checklist, like, all right, I have to do this. I don't know the reason, but I'm doing it. And just trying to keep as fit as you can and as sane as you can during this time.
Well, follow-up question to that, like, what's the longest up until now that you've been out of the water? Like, how long have you gone without being in a pool?
So if you asked me this before 2016, the longest I've gone is probably 2 weeks, which is the Christmas to New Year's, and maybe like a couple of days before Christmas and a couple of days after New Year's. So the most I've ever gone is 2 weeks. After Olympics, I wasn't sure if I was going to go to 2020, so I took 3 months off in January of 2017. And then I slowly started to get back, all with the goal of, all right, 2020, I retire. So that's pushed, and it's a huge different mindset now. All right, what are my goals now? Because yes, it could be the same as before, but my goals before was just to make it to 2020, see if I could go to 5 Olympics. And now it's, all right, if I'm pushing myself to wake up every morning still for another 18 months, it's not just going to Olympics. I have to do something there, like, now. So.
Well, speaking of the if you go to 5 Olympics, I'm sure you're aware, but you'll be amongst like a pretty elite class. Like, I think there's only about 15 swimmers or so that have made 5 Olympics. So yeah. And so I didn't realize that when I was in 2016. I was like, maybe not. And everybody kept on telling me, of course, go. But it didn't mean anything to me until I realized how hard it is to keep on going. I'm like, no, I am going to 5. So, yeah. Well, that's great. Well, so obviously we're talking about that. What are your plans for the future? Like, so you're going to try to work towards Tokyo 2021, and are you going to be training down in South Florida? Is that the plan?
I think so. Right now, I have a good support system and a good staff. If I was to switch it up, it would only be for a couple months somewhere, like a training camp somewhere else. But for the most part, I'll probably be here just finishing off. The great thing about it being extended as well is that we had young athletes that could have made it, but 2020 just came around too quickly. So with 2021 happening and a couple of them going to college, we could see a bigger team for Jamaica for Olympics. So that is a positive in it.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear that. So what are some of your most memorable moments on the international scene? Like, was there any particular medal or performance that stands out for you?
Memorable as in happy?
Happy, Ted? Anything that's that sticks in your mind?
There are a couple. The world records has always been at the top because when they happened, they were unexpected. It wasn't a time where I was feeling great and I was like, yes, I feel so good. This is going to be it. No, because every time I feel like that, that's never the case. So the world records were always great because they were a surprise. Besides that, I think every time I surprise other people, in the sense of when I go on a pool deck, it's if they don't follow swimming, then they really know me. So to them, I'm like a black face just walking on the pool deck. And they're like, oh, who is she? We don't really care. We don't really know her. And then they see me swim and they're like, oh. And you see them start to like get nice with me and start talking to me. I'm like, all right. So I think those are always surprising because it's like I always have to prove myself to other people instead of just thinking or just giving me like maybe the benefit of the doubt of every other swimmer, waiting to see how I am in the water before you judge me. I don't really get that so much now just because I've been around for so long. But when I was younger, that happened a lot. And it showed me a different character that I can be. And it kind of paved my way into which type of person do I want to be. The person that judges everybody, so you're going to judge them back, or the person that just allows me to swim the way I want to swim without any stress or pressure. Because they don't know who I am. I don't need to tell them. They'll see it regardless. And I'm glad for that because it showed me a different type of strength that I had. Because I was very introverted as a child. And coming into it, it's like swimming forces you to have a voice, whether you want it or not. And the voice that came out was extremely strong. And it came out in the pool. And then eventually it came out in the social life as well.
You started talking about the world records. So obviously you broke your own short course world record in the 50-meter breast, and then you tied Rita for the 100-meter short course breaststroke or something. But then, how did you feel when you once again tied your own world record?
So after 2012 Olympics, when I tied Tara Van Wielen for the semifinals for Olympics, I was like, this doesn't happen. Like, this doesn't happen. So when I tied my own world record again, I'm like, I can't say this doesn't happen. Like, I've seen many different circumstances in swimming already. Obviously, this happens, and it would happen to me. So I was like, I started analyzing the race to see what could I have done differently to go 0.01 faster. And it got to the point where I was like, it was the race that I had. Like, that was it. Everything I did for a reason. Like, every turn, if I did push off as hard, like, whatever. And it really gets into your head if you start to, like, minimize what you just did because you just tied it again. Like, don't overlook that. But at the same time, be proud of your race because that's the race that you had. So I have to fight between that and be like, just accept it. At least I can say nobody has a record for beating it twice and having the same record twice, if that's something.
Yeah. What is it about short course? Like, obviously, you're still up there with everybody on the long course circuit and kind of thing too. But what is it that allows you to be like so dominant in the short course meet? Is it just your very powerful turns, or? Yes,
I think the turns do play a factor in it. I am really I have more confidence in it. So yes, there can be many other physical attributes that we can study and look into it, and I'm sure there's other things where I'm stronger in. But when you break it down, I have more confidence in short course meters. When I go in, I'm like, okay, I have 6 strokes. I can muscle through 6 strokes before my next turn. Whereas long course, I was like, I have 21 strokes. And mentally, it's like, oh, can you hold on to this? Like, so for me, mentally, it is a lot easier. However, I enjoy short course meters more than yards. So if that was the case, then yards would have been better. So I don't know. There is something sweet about the short course meters. The right amount of strokes, the right turns. I don't know what it is. But I do know my turns and my walls do play a heavy part on it. And I do believe just the way I grew up, my body type, my family, my structure, everything, really, the short course meters is a great event and it's a great distance to showcase what I'm capable of doing.
So when it comes to training, where you're at in South Florida, are you doing mainly meters or yards, or and how much long course time do you get in?
So usually it's just yards, and then probably 2 times in the morning I'll do long course until it reaches maybe long course season. So end of May, June, July, and August would be long course, but everything else would be short course.
So you mean like end of May and so on is all long course, or you still do yards at that time too?
Mm-hmm. It's all long course until maybe August. And then short course yards would start up in August towards back again May.
Let's go back a little bit. Can you tell us about your upbringing in Jamaica and how swimming helped shape your life? And, were there any struggles that you faced that stood out during your childhood swimming?
So we started swimming. My entire family is track and field based. So it was a shock for us to go into swimming because I have an older sister and an older brother. So they started swimming just because we should know how to swim. So there was actually a small drowning incident, and it wasn't really a drowning. The boat had water in it, and everybody started to panic. So my aunt started to panic because she didn't know how to swim. So after they got to shore, my mother and my aunt is like, no, this can't happen. Like, why are we in a state where this can happen? Like, that shouldn't happen. So when my mother started having kids, she made sure that they knew how to swim. And she actually learned with my oldest sister as well. So from that, we just started to learn how to swim. And then we just kept on doing it every summer. Now my brother started doing track and field as well, but he didn't like it. So by the time I came along, we just kept it swimming. It was just a one shot. So that's actually how I started. I didn't have any other rival sports to contest with. And yeah, swimming was fun. It was more of a social aspect for us. It was more of a family daycare type of things, because a lot of the women and the men, they drop us off from school, drop us off at swimming, and then they go back to work. So it was some place to put the children for a couple hours, and then they pick us back up in the afternoon. So you really got to learn some friends. You got to learn different families. Everybody was your swim mom. Everybody could discipline you. So it was a good environment to grow up in. And as I got older, I started to realize, like, I don't just have to race the girls. I can race the boys too. So I took a liking to beating the boys as well. And I think a part of me still has that, like, I still try and measure out my pullouts with the other men and be like, I'm almost there. Like, and I'm short. So it's like, it's not safe. But yeah, I started racing against the boys, and I started getting more competitive. And I think that's where my competitive drive started from. Until I started to get older and I started to go to international meets for Jamaica. And I started to realize, oh, wow, there are a lot of very talented females out there. So I started changing my focus to just seeing how close I can get to where they are. So when I beat somebody, I always went to the next person, like, all right, who is next type of deal. And I just worked my way up. Yeah.
Well, when you were in Jamaica, did you train like in your own hometown? Like there's a pool there, but like when did you make that transition, or was it really early when you went to Kingston? Like I believe the National Aquatic Center of Jamaica is in Kingston, right? Like are you're not right from there, like you're a little ways away?
No, so I was lucky enough to live in St. Andrew, which is the neighboring parish to Kingston. So we were only about 25 minutes away from the pool. And Jamaica only has one national stadium, which is National Stadium in Kingston. And everybody else is probably private pools. So you really have to know somebody or have access to those as well. So the public and everybody and all swim clubs usually went to that one pool for long course training. Short course was elsewhere. So we were all in one spot. So I was lucky enough to be able to learn there and then just keep on swimming from there.
Can you tell us a little bit about what it was when you arrived at Texas A&M, and what can you tell us about some of your experiences?
I love Texas. It was a change. Everybody told me you're going to go to Cowboys and you're going to ride horses to school. You're going to end up loving country music and you're going to have boots. And yeah, I love country music, so that's about the only one. I did not get boots, and I rode a horse once. But that was it. But yeah, it was a big change because I've been to the States many times, but Texas is a completely different part of the world. So getting adjusted wasn't as difficult as I imagined because College Station was still small. It's small now, but back a couple of years, like 2010. It was a lot smaller. So it was still hometownish. You had the Southern charm. You had people who were opening the doors for you and saying, ma'am. Just real country life. And I think for me, that was a lot better. I went to 2 other schools and they were big city schools. And I don't think I felt as comfortable as I did, as I would have in Texas, as I did in Texas A&M. But yeah, I think my deciding factor, I love the girls, and I love the girls at other teams as well. But the main thing when I sat down, and I remember talking to my parents, if I was on the pool deck at NCAAs and I saw all the coaches that I went to, which one would I be afraid to look in the eye? And that was Steve Boatman. I was like, I couldn't. The other ones I'd be like, hey, how you doing? But I couldn't. So I'm like, I need to go there. Steve is where I need to be at. So that's how I decided, actually, because I really admired and respected Steve, and I know it would have broken his heart if I didn't go. And I wanted to go, I just couldn't decide at the moment. But yeah, Texas A&M.
It's an awesome story, and the fact that Big 12 champion, and now you're also in the Texas A&M Hall of Fame too, right? Yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations. Going past that and through all your international experience and everything, like, can you offer any messages to the young athletes regarding, persevering through these times and, moving forward into the future next season and beyond?
Yeah. For the athletes during this time, I really want to say to you guys, be honest with yourself. Know who you are. Because I know myself. I am a lazy athlete. I am. And so I really have to put a schedule and a routine and keep myself accountable. Because if not, I will be on the sofa with cake and chips. And that is not where I need to be if I want to go to Olympics next year. So really keep yourself accountable. Know who you are. And if you don't, ask your teammates and ask your coach. I am sure they will tell you the truth. And when you do figure it out, see where the negative stuff are, and then see where you have room to improve on. And then just start using this time just to fix and change that character and mold it and make it better. So when you do go back to practices, you won't have those same excuses. You won't be, I can't get up. I'm so tired. I'm so tight. I don't know how to stretch. You should have been stretching this whole time. My core work is so weak. I have an injury. You weren't resting the injury this whole time. Find the different things that you're doing now to make yourself better. So when you do go back to pool, you can give yourself 100%. So that's one. 2, for the future, I would say hold on to your goals. Figure out why you're in the sport. And that's any sport, whether it's a swimmer or a runner or anything. Find out what you're doing and why you do it. Because it's great when you're having fun. It's great when you're doing well. But those times don't last. And when you have a negative feedback, or when you have a bad swim, or when you just don't want to get up, you have to remember the goals that you set in place. And that's the only thing that's going to get you up, really. Keep yourself accountable. Tell your coaches, like, hey, I'm having a rough day today. And tell your teammates, like, look, I'm feeling really lazy. I'm going to need your help. But even though we swim by ourselves in the lane at competitions, you're not alone in the entire race of your career. So you have to have other people with you, and you have to be open with them and communicate with them to let them know what's going on. So yeah, I think that's the best advice I can give. Hold yourself accountable. Be honest with yourself. If you have to look inside the mirror and be like, you are a lazy athlete, then do it. But know who you are. Keep yourself accountable, but also find what you can do to fine tune yourself right now. So at the end of this, you can come out better for it, not worse.
That's wonderful advice. Well, I think this has been an exceptional interview. I believe that our swimmers, both from the Belleville and other Ontario or Canadian swimmers tuning in, as well as parents and coaches, will be able to take a lot out of this. And we were just so blessed to be able to have you come on here. And thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
All right. Thank you, Alia. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Hello, Beast Swimmers, and welcome to another segment of It's Go Time in the Off Time with Coach Neiden. I hope you guys are all doing well. This week's segment is going to be a little bit different than the other ones. I know we were talking about goals and dreams and habits and affirmations, but this week I just wanted to have a little bit of fun and go over some facts and stats and historic information about swimming. I didn't even know a lot of this myself, so this was a little bit fun for me to kind of see, but maybe this is just stuff you can tell your friends about or quiz your mom and dad, or just it's just sometimes fun to know some random facts about the sport that we all love and train all the time. So I'm going to list a bunch of stuff. There's not going to be any kind of order. Take what you want, have fun, tell people about it, and enjoy yourself. Anyway, here we go. Here's some weird swimming stuff, okay? More than half of the world-class swimmers suffer from shoulder pain. I know a lot of you guys are actually injured a lot with their shoulders. Just to let you guys know, you are not alone. Literally more than half of world-class swimmers suffer from shoulder pain. So rest those shoulders, take care of your shoulders, learn that technique because that's a big one. Breaststroke is the slowest Olympic sport. I think we can all agree on that one. A space shuttle turbo pump can empty an Olympic pool in under 25 seconds. That's completely random to me, but a space shuttle turbo pump can empty an Olympic pool, a 50-meter pool, in 25 seconds. So there's got to be some powerful pumping action in order for that to happen. Did you know that free divers are able to hold the breath for 10 minutes? That's a long time. I know synchronized swimmers can usually hold the breath between 3.5 to 5 minutes. My sister was a synchronized swimmer. I think my max was maybe 2 minutes, a minute 50 or something like that back in the day. How long can you guys hold your breaths for? Swimmers' ankles are so flexible they can touch the ground with their toes while laying down on their backs. I can still I'm pretty sure I can still do this. I actually have a very good point. Go try it at home. Go lie down on your back, point your toes, see what you can do. Swimmers sweat in the water. I think anybody who swam and has done one of Brandon, Kristen, or my set, at some point or another, you guys are sweating in the water, so make sure you guys keep hydrating. Did you know that the first ever swim goggles were crafted from tortoise shells? I didn't know that. I had no idea that was the case. Doesn't really make sense to me, but I think it's kind of cool at this point. Did you know that professional swimmers often shave their bodies to go faster? I actually did this. I'm sure Brandon did, and Kristen obviously does. But yes, I think helps you feel the water and you go faster in the water. And of course, swimming, you involve every single muscle in your body. Okay, here's a few other ones. Paintings found in Egypt depict people swimming back in 2500 BCE. So swimming has been around a very long time. Swimming became an Olympic sport in 1896. That's interesting. Women only started competing in Olympic swimming in 1912, 16 years after men. which is obviously too bad. But glad that they're part of the sport. And the other thing, too, is our club, in my opinion, is like 80-20 when it comes to females versus males. So I think that's awesome. President Gerald Ford had an outdoor swimming pool built in the White House in 1975. A lot of presidents add something. I think Obama added a basketball court, and someone else added a bowling alley. So that's cool that President Gerald Ford wanted a swimming pool. And the Titanic, which unfortunately sank, is the first ocean liner to have a swimming pool in their boat. So I did not know that too, but that's kind of cool. And then the first ever swimming race was held in Japan. Guess how long ago? 2,055 years ago in Japan. Did not know that. Did you know that swimming burns almost 40% more calories than biking per hour? I believe it. Swimming burns almost 30% more calories than running. So swimming is the best sport, and we all should be pumped that we're doing it. 65% of Americans can't even swim. Not surprising, because Canadians are the best. The biggest pool in the world is 7 times bigger than a football field that you can find in the Casablanca, Morocco. That's kind of interesting. The average high school swimmer swims 1 million strokes per season. I try to look up how many a competitive swimmer swims. I imagine it's probably closer to 3 million, and probably once you get on the higher levels, maybe 4 to 4.5 million, hence the shoulder injuries later on in your career. The oldest stroke in swimming apparently is breaststroke. Did you guys know that? It looks like it dates back to the 1st century BCE. So that's good. The world's youngest competitive swimmer was 10 years old. It was a girl who competed with other swimmers twice her age. She finished her 50-meter butterfly in 41.13 seconds. 41.13 50 fly as a 10-year-old. That's awesome. The world's oldest swimmer is 100 years old. And she finished a 1,500-meter freestyle swim. So good for her. That's pretty awesome. And there's a woman who was 64 years old. Her name was Diane Nyad, who swam from Cuba to Florida, which is 103 miles of swimming. And she tried that 6 times before breaking the record. So that shows, again, resilience. And the thing I wanted to finish with, which I thought was very important, was open water swimmers sometimes poop in the water. That's all for me, guys. I'm going to do a couple more segments, focus more not on goals and all the good stuff later on. But hope everybody's doing well, and I hope you enjoyed some of these facts. Take care. Bye.
We're here at the Paw Patrol High Dive Competition. First up, Zuma. Judges, 10, 9, 9. Next up, Sky. Judges, scores, 8, 10, 9. Next up, Marshall. Judges, scores, 8, 9, 9. Next up, Rubble. Judges, 10, 9, 10. Next up, Rocky. Judges, scores, 10, 9, 8. Last but not least, Chase. Judges, scores, 10, 10, 10. And the bronze medal goes to Zuma. And the silver medal goes to Rubble. And the gold medal goes to your winner, Chase. So welcome to the show, world champion Maggie McNeil. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So how are you holding up during these strange times? I saw that you were, tethered swimming there and together your backyard pool or something. And anything else you've been doing to pass the time and keep in shape, running, dry land stuff, and anything else like that?
Well, it's definitely strange. I mean, it's certainly nice to have some time at home. But yeah, I've been really busy with finishing up my schoolwork, which actually I just finished my last exam yesterday, so I get a little bit of right before my summer classes start. But lately I've just been doing like weights. I've been doing like a modified lift program in my basement, as well as like I have an elliptical. So I've kind of been doing that just because as a swimmer, I'm not really a big fan of running. So I think I've drafted more toward that, and it's working out well. And then I've really just enjoyed spending time with my family and just like hanging out because my parents are both home. So it's kind of nice to just get that quality time.
Good. Yeah, I can definitely attest to the running part. I think we hear that from a lot of swimmers there. So definitely get that. So I've basically seen you swim right from when you were probably 11, 12 years old all the way till now. Maybe we will take a little trip down memory lane here. So can you talk a bit about your time with the London Aquatic Club and what it was like training with Andrew? And, do you have any memories or anything like that from some maybe medal performances on the age group level or anything like that?
Yeah, so I mean, Lackey's definitely a great start for me to kickstart my career. I still go back whenever I come home for holidays and stuff. So it's always nice to kind of just catch up with my friends and definitely get to see Andrew. We've had a really close relationship, and it's been really great all these years. It's been a really incredible journey from my first provincial record at 12 to my first junior team, and then to my first senior national team last summer. So it's definitely been incredible. He's a great guy, and we get along really well, and he's definitely always really open to learning. So I think that always helped our relationship as well. So as far as medal performances go, I really remember my first medal at provincial level because I was 9 and it was in my home pool, provincials 2009. So I think that was definitely exciting, and I knew that that's when I really wanted to take swimming seriously.
Good. Well, so moving on kind of from there, obviously, you had such an amazing age group senior career here with London. Moving into NCAA, how was that transition? What do you love most about studying at University of Michigan, and what is it like to be part of the Wolverine swim team?
So the transition was actually pretty easy thanks to like the team and the coaches and all the resources that we have available. I really enjoyed everything so far. I'm really particularly enjoying my classes. I'm going to major in psychology, and just everything about swimming there just is incredible. And then swimming for the Wolverines is unlike anything I've experienced before. They're just also supportive, and it's just like a really big team atmosphere. And whether you're swimming a relay or an individual event, it's always about the team and the team. So that's kind of like our motto. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it, and since I've always enjoyed short course more than long course, I think that's also what helped me to adapt so well.
Yeah, I remember seeing last year, when you were at World Championships and seeing the video from all your teammates there cheering you on when they were all in the...
Oh yeah, that was so nice.
That was pretty neat for sure. So moving on actually from NCAA swimming, which you just finished your sophomore season, correct? Yeah, so you got 2 years left there, but not just there, you're also swimming for Team Canada. Can you share some of your experiences with Team Canada and maybe tell us what it was like to win the gold medal at FINA World Championships last summer?
Yeah, so it was my first senior national team that I attended. I qualified the summer before, but I already had plans to go and start school and kind of get ahead on my studies. So I kind of did that and went to junior Pat and Pats instead. So yeah, last summer was my first senior national team, and it was a really good experience. It was just interesting for me as I had been a veteran on the junior teams for the past 4 or 5 years. So it was interesting to have my role switch to kind of be more one of the inexperienced ones. And then as for winning at Worlds, it's still so surreal. I can't believe it happened. Honestly, I don't really know how else to describe it.
Well, what about maybe going back to some of your NCAA performances too? Freshman of the year last year, and set some records. Is there any of those performances that you can talk about, or do they stand out in a similar fashion or in some different manner?
Yeah, I think two races that stand out in particular. So the first one was this last December in Minnesota, where I tied the NC2A and US Open record with Louise Hansen, actually, who had beat me at NC's in March. So I thought that was really interesting just because we swim the races so differently. I tend to like go out slower in the first half and come back faster, and she does it the opposite way. So it's kind of really interesting to see how we can both swim it so differently. And then I think the second most memorable would be my 100 free at the Big Ten Championships this year in Iowa. It was like the last night, and we really wanted to win that team title, but we were just a little short. So I think that was really a testament to our character as a team because we never really gave up. And I knew I wanted to win for the team, and in that time I actually broke the Big Ten record. So that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, that was a big best time there. And how what was your drop from there? Like that was a pretty big drop, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was around half a second.
Amazing. Speaking of the team thing and relay stuff too, can you touch on any of your feelings on the relay last year and the bronze medal at FINA Worlds as well?
Oh yeah, those were super great. I mean, I really enjoyed swimming with Penny and Taylor and Kyla and Rebecca again since they were on the senior team. It was kind of nice to just swim a relay with them. It was the first time I'd ever really swum a relay at a international meet. So that was really exciting. And then the fact that it was the first time Canada had won bronze medals in all three of the women's relays since 1978. So that was a really big deal.
That's awesome. That's a great stat. I didn't know that. Last question here for you. So once we're able to return back to normal or the new kind of normal, what are your plans? Like you getting back in the water, or is right away excited for that too, or anything like that? And then in addition to that, what advice can you offer any of the younger swimmers that are kind of coming up through the ranks and stuff too about persevering during the and what they can do next season and beyond?
Yeah, so definitely once we get back to training, I hope we get back soon. The plan is for me to hop across the border again and get back to training, hopefully, if the borders reopen. If they don't anytime soon, I guess I'll still be training here, which I mean is fine. And then I would advise other swimmers to just keep working hard and keep up training in some fitness level. I know it's not going to be the same regardless of what you do, but we will get in the pool again, and you want to make sure you're in the best possible shape to come back and do the best you can next season.
Good. And so we touched on the first question. You have been kind of doing some training in the pool, like in your freezing cold London pool. Is that what we saw?
Yeah. So my mom was like, we should open our back pool, and I kind of thought she was crazy at the time. But then I kind of warmed up to the idea of it, and then so we opened it like a couple days later, and I was in it. It's a heated pool, so everyone's like, it must be really cold, but we keep it around 84 degrees, so it's actually not too bad. But yeah, and I just bought a power tower for my pool. So it's kind of like a pulley system where I can add weight to swim across, or hopefully have enough resistance I can swim in place. So that's kind of what I've been doing mainly. And my coach from school has kind of been sending me workouts and ideas. So it's been going good.
That's perfect. Well, this is wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. This is going to be awesome for all the swimmers to see, and the parents, and hopefully some coaches out there and everything too. So thank you very, very much for your time, and can't wait to see you perform next year and next season, NCAAs and next Olympics and everything. So thank you so much for joining us here today and sharing your insight on everything.
Thanks so much.
Well, that's it for our show this week. Thank you so much for watching. And thank you to Alia and Maggie for some amazing interviews. And as always, thank you to Coach Nyden for his segments. We aren't continuing with the 2-kilometer run challenge. However, that does not mean that you shouldn't get out and run on a regular basis. So we encourage you to do that as much as possible. For the month of May, can't believe it's May already, Kristen has put together a dryland bingo. So try to perform as many exercises on the card as you can in a weekly basis and submit it to her, please. As always, we will continue to upload these videos to YouTube and Facebook, along with the interviews separated on the same platforms. We won't have a show coming up next week, but we will have a couple more in May. So be sure to check those out. But in the meantime, there's some excellent Canadian content out there. Please check out Dean Bowles' The Personal Next episodes, as well as Don Burton, Deep Thoughts from the Shallow End. In addition to that, there's Coach Patrick from China that has Coffee with Coach Patrick. So check those episodes out. There's some great interviews there. Mike Thompson, the head coach of the Canadian para program in Quebec. He's got a couple interviews up as well. Two athletes that are some in university, David McSporran and Felipe Escobar, are running a show called Take a Look. So check that out. Shout out to Eddie Toro from NIAC for running some Instagram interviews. I know he has one with Josh Liendo up, and he did a little segment with Kara Smith a while ago. And speaking of Kara Smith, Krista Lill from Scarborough also did an interview there, so be sure to check that out. Thank you so much for tuning in. Just stay safe out there, and know that soon enough we will be back in the water swimming again, and everything will be back to a new type of normal. So hang in there, stay positive, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.
Stay safe. Wash your hands. Bye bye.